It starts to be a little bit autumn here in Nordic country. It's been raining a lot, so a lot of places get muddy and wet. So I was thinking that today we could talk a little bit about tires and traction, how to maintain traction in muddy conditions, and what you should know as a driver about your tires and how to keep them in good shape. So we will specifically talk about tandem axle driven trucks today. That means that two of the axles of the truck drive the truck forward. Here we have a liftable tandem axle driven FH 500 I-Save truck. It's Volvo truck rental truck. Now this axle is up in the air, but that's actually drive axle because this is a tandem axle lift truck. So with this truck you can lift the second one up, and that will give you more agility in turns, and that will give you some fuel benefits when you're running empty. But then, yeah, this truck has two axles that push the truck forward when you're have both axles on the ground, and very soon we start to have a frozen ground and such. It is important that all of these tires will push the combination forward. And what you as a driver need to do is you need to secure that the thread should be about equal in all of these tires, because if one of them is smaller in size and you start activating differential locks, the one that is different in size will always be skidding a little bit, and that's not so effectively pushing you forward. So if you have a tandem axle driven truck, all of the tires should be in equal condition, same diameter, same wear. Then of course that might become challenging if you have a tire puncture, because it's super expensive to replace them all at once if you have just one tire failing. So then what you should as a driver think is to how to keep all these 8 tires in good shape for as long time as possible, and how to wear them out in an even manner so that all of them would have same diameter, and then when you start applying differential locks, you make sure that all of them rotate at same speed and none of them are skidding, and then it will push you forward. Slippery conditions could be you reversing yourself to a loading dock or starting in a slippery steep slope or whatever. So then what can we do as a driver? First of all, we need to make sure that they run in recommended pressure, and that you need to check from the tire manufacturer. And if you're used to just putting 8.5 bars to all drive axle tires, by today's standards that's often way too much. And I think if we're looking at this high capacity train puller here, which might be pulling 68 to 76 metric tons, I think what they recommend these days, the tire manufacturers, could be 5.5 to 6.5 bar to these tires on drive axles. So even if you have 8 point something at the front, it might be that with these tires 5.5 is enough, because if you overinflate them, what will happen is that you will start wearing out the tire here from the middle part, and that is then it wears out really fast, and the area here which will touch the ground will be too small in size. So when you lower the pressure, it will make the contact in between the road and the tire bigger, and then the tire rotates under the vehicle in a way that it should. So don't overinflate them. Then how to get rid of the tire blowouts? Well, I guess you cannot completely get rid of all of them, but one thing you should be looking at is that you regularly, at least once a month, check the pressure of these tires. with modern trucks like this, you can probably check it from the display. We might have a tire pressure monitoring system, and you just check the display and check that they are in a correct state. If you don't have tire pressure monitoring system, then you really need to come in here and check with the pressure gauge, because just kicking or hitting it with the hammer will not give accurate measurement. It basically tells you if there's air in it or not, but you don't know if there's 5.5 or 6.5 bar in it. So the only way to make sure that it's running in correct pressure is to check it with gauge, or if you have tire pressure monitoring system, then from the display. Well, the biggest reason for tire blowout is that the tire has been running for a long distance underinflated. So then it basically deforms a lot more than it's designed to, and all those deformations over time break the structure of the tire, and then you will experience that as a tire blowout on the road. And then if it's only one tire that you blow, it's way too expensive to replace all 8 of them on this truck. So then if you just replace the 2 in the position where one was blown, then you will have unoptimal traction going forward in critical conditions, because the diameter of the new tires you set in here will be different than all the rest. And that means that under critical conditions the truck will not be able to perform as good as it should. So that's one thing. You need to make sure that all the tires run in correct pressure, not too much, not too little. So you need to check from the tire manufacturer and put in the average axle load that you are running. And I guess if you're running empty one direction, loaded one direction, you sort of have to take an average of those and then punch that in, and then you will get from the tire manufacturer documentation the correct pressure. And it could be just as low as 5.5 or 6.5, but that also ensures that when you need to get going on ice, the truck will do what it can. So correct pressures, and don't guess. Then the second thing is that you should be driving in a way that you minimize the tire blowout. So for instance, if you are driving a regular route and you spot a big stone on the road or something, it might be worthwhile jumping out of the cab, throw the stone out of the road. If the road is in a very bad condition, operational route for instance that you regularly drive, then you should contact the road maintenance so that they fix the road, because blowing out one tire from a new set of 8 tires is just stupid. So right pressures, keep the roads in good shape, and if you can fix them yourself, do it. Now we have a lot of customer trucks on this yard. They could be used trucks, they could be ones visiting this workshop, and let's go and check in what shape their tires are. So all of these trucks have been in operation, and if the traction will be as good as it could be. So let's go and check that out. Relatively new Volvo FH here, and it has tandem axle on it. We have winter drive tires, one kind of thread on this axle. The size is same, but it's different type of tire in here. The risk is also that the diameter is different, because there are different types of tires probably put under in different times. So if you drive with interaxial diff lock open, differential in between axles is running a lot unnecessarily. Another tandem axle driven truck, a typical long haul truck these days in Finland. Tire pretty worn, but they seem to have same type and size, and they seem to be evenly worn out. So even if they're not in a good shape for Nordic winter, probably still, if you would put the interaxial diff lock on, and just as long as the road friction is not super bad, it will probably push the truck forward just as long as the friction is enough to keep it going. So they are evenly worn out, you should replace tires on this truck, and then if you do it, replace all 8 of them for good traction, and then keep them in good shape for the kilometers to come. Yeah, we have a road maintenance truck, and I would say with this truck, having a good traction with this under chassis road maintenance equipment is super important. So let's see what we have here. It's used, but it's still something that you could at least begin the season with. But here we see that it's very uneven wear. So now, let's say that you're doing your road maintenance with this truck. You put the interaxial diff lock on. I would guess that this axle with smaller diameter and worse shape of tires would be skidding. It's pushing you forward, but it's not pushing you forward as good as it could be. So then if you get stuck, that axle there is not helping you as much as it could. Here we have a customer truck that looks like it regularly goes into tough places, so this probably sees its share of bad roads. It has nice tread depth, quite okay quality tread. The tires, the body of it has seen some road and starts to be in a bad shape, but we have an equal type of tread and quite good grip in there. So I would say that with this truck, even if the bodies of the tires are already seeing their best days, the traction with this truck, if you know how to correctly use differential locks, is good, because you have equal friction and tire diameter on both driven axles. So then when you start adding your differential locks, all the tires will push you in equal land speed forward, and that's how you maintain grip and you don't get stuck. Then we have a workhorse here. It's a truck in daily operation in Helsinki region. 6x4 tractor pulling 2-axle tipper trailer. It's pretty tire, so these tires are probably specified to last some rough roads where there's a huge risk of puncture. At the front axle, the tire has been worn out much more than at the rear axle. So on this side, that would give on optimal traction. If we go around to the other side of the combination, here in the front axle, tires are about in same shape as the front driven axle of the tandem axle set was on the other side. But here we have a lot more tread depth, and my assumption is that this last axle has had tire blowout at one point, and then only the 2 tires in that position have been swapped. And now what happens if you go into tough places, you start adding differential locks. So first you put interaxial diff lock on, and that will lock these 2 axles to rotate at same pace. And then differential in this axle has to compensate that this tire is in diameter bigger than one on the other side. So then the differential starts spinning in there to compensate that. And then when you put the second differential option on, so you lock all 4-wheel tires to rotate at same speed. Now it depends a little bit on friction, but I think this might be skidding slightly at all times. So it means that it's not pushing the truck as good forward as it could. Or if this has high friction and the 3 other has lower friction, it could be that all of them are skidding slightly. So the whole system is not as effectively pushing the truck forward. So it's probably too expensive to swap all 8 tires if they still have mileage on it. So the best thing you as a driver can do is to check the pressure of these tires regularly so that you don't have a risk of blowing out an independent tire because of underinflated pressure. And also don't overinflate so that they offer you good enough traction, because if you overinflate, then the size of the tire that will touch ground will become smaller, and then if you inflate it the right pressure, it will become bigger, and then that will offer you better traction. So don't underinflate, don't overinflate, and check once a month. And then if you see stones or something that could puncture your tire on a route that you regularly drive, if you can remove it by yourself, just stop the truck, come out of the cab, get it out of the road. If it's something that requires road maintenance, try to consult somebody responsible of road maintenance to get that fixed. And then you can run with all 8 tires on your drive axles as long as you can and keep them in equal shape, and that will keep you moving. Good. See you next time.